It's all about the Health and Healing Hub experience each and every Saturday on your favorite station between the hours of 2 and 4. ContrastRadio.net.
A warm welcome goes out to the Contrast Radio family. A warm welcome goes out to our regular listeners, and if this is your first time, greetings and a glorious welcome to the Health and Healing Hub experience. Get yourself a herbal tea, come inside and shut the door. Hosted by myself, Funmilola, and the Fantabulous Ms Tee. Now this week, we're going to continue with part 2 of our discussion, Learning and Unlearning, with our sister guests, Sis Lucy, Sis Wilma, Sis Kelly, Sis Karen, Sis Nicola, Sis Juliyah, and Sis Maxine. One of these days we're going to have 10 and 20 man here. I swear, I put it out to the universe. 10 and 20 man. 10 and 20 man. 10 and 20 man.
Where sometimes we might have to catch ourselves, or we've probably all done it, and I've done it myself, like not fully verbalize that I'm unhappy with something, or sometimes I am, but then I might talk myself around into saying, oh well, you're helping somebody, and yes, I am helping somebody, but then with maturity you realize, and in hindsight, that sometimes helping somebody else is not necessarily helping yourself, and it's just having that ability to be reflective sometimes and look back at situations and say, oh, what happened here, and sort of analyze that and then move forward, because there just seems to be, well, it seems to me that there's a shift with a lot of women, my peers, who they're not putting up with a lot of the rubbish that they used to. They're not content with tolerating things, personal injustices, and sometimes it can take one straw to break the camel's back, where sort of fight back, or you say something, and sometimes what I found on the odd occasion, it's been that I've had it in my head that I'm going to sort of like do a script of what I'm going to say, and saying that, like, sometimes I've done a script of what I'm going to say, rehearse it in my head, and then when it comes down to it, and they say, no, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm unable to help you on this, this time and that. But it's been, oh, all right, then it's all right, I'll ask somebody else. And you just think, well, all the time I've been killing out myself, wondering how this person's going to take it, and they're still quite happy to ask somebody else. So the moral of the story is that sometimes if somebody wants that help and you're not permitted, that if they're hell-bent on doing whatever it is that they want to do, they'll find somebody else. So there's no need sometimes to have that burden that we have sometimes of feeling that we're letting people down. I think the only person I think that we're actually letting down is ourselves, if we're not being true to ourselves and as to what our capacity is to manage whatever it is. And if other people are encroaching on that, or if somebody else is robbing us of our joy, then of course that is not happiness, that's not healthy, that's not it's not a symbiotic relationship which is of mutual respect. If somebody's always looking to you for everything to make them feel better, and it's just like unlearning these behaviors, it takes time, it takes the ability to be reflective and look back, analyze things and say, okay, how am I going to change that? And even with myself, it's a work in progress, but it's it's just like life is a working document, isn't it? You always keep adjusting, deleting, and adding, inputting new things, better things, drafting and redrafting. And that's how it is.
Yes. Wilma, have you contributed? Kelly? Wilma or Kelly? Kelly!
Hello.
Kelly!
Sorry I'm late, but from what I have heard, it really has resonated. I think it was it Julia that mentioned about when you've been bullied. For me, that kind of experience evolved when I was at school, and that constant desire to overachieve. And I think I'm still on that trajectory and experience of growing and understanding the idea of saying no. I refer back to that example that someone once gave, that when you're I think it goes, when you're saying yes to something, what are you sort of saying no to? So what are you, your whole sentiment of what you're feeling, what are you putting aside to kind of agree to helping that person? And I'm still on that road to discovery. I don't think I have quite understood how, my feelings. I'm still growing. I still have that thing of not like the sister just literally said about not wanting to let people down, and I take on board people's emotions and if I say no, what are the implications? And that has manifested itself very recently, as some of you know, where it's impacted the flow and the equilibrium of my mental well-being. So I'm still caught up in that cycle of learning when to shut off. From what I've gleaned, from what I've heard, I didn't hear the conversation from the very start, so I'm not quite there. Is the confessionary for me at the moment.
I think we're all working on ourselves. It says, who said it? A working document. It was the working document. I love that analogy. Was that you, Kelly?
Me.
Who spoke of was it you, Kelly, yourself? The working document.
No, I think it was maybe somebody else.
Oh, it was
that
me.
you have to edit. It was Karen.
Yeah, it was I.
Yes, because that's exactly what it is. And some people, when they say, "I'll always believe this," really? But we change every day.
Right.
We don't stay the same, do we?
Can I also just add as well, listening to what's been here to share, and thank you, lovely women, for sharing this beautiful information. Over-analyzing everything. Really just keep on thinking till it's really like a paralysis. And then you end up doing nothing, because it's like, well, if I do this, what if that? And if I do that, what if this? And what if that? I don't know if anybody can relate to this. So the key is then just saying, okay, when is enough enough? When is good enough enough? And when is it just, okay, I'll stop? Because I think maybe the overthinking, analysis paralysis is really just looking at perfection.
Is that something that you could relate to yourself?
100%. I think, and I overthink everything. And as a result, it's like, well, we've only got 24 hours in a day, and how much time are we wasting thinking on this paralysis analysis all the time? So that's my confession, as Usher would say. At the end of the day, it's about stopping and just say, okay, I've done enough of this. Let's just make a decision. Because when you keep on analyzing, it's very difficult then to make a decision. And when you make the decision, is that the right decision? Did I need to give it a bit more time? Do I need to research a bit more, type of thing? So, I think it takes courage just to say, stop. You've done enough. Let's see what happens now. And then learn from that situation. Because unfortunately, somebody was talking about earlier about our mothers maybe being martyrs. Many of them will likely say, if I could turn back the clock, I would have done X, Y, Z. And really it's about avoiding the life of regrets. Because at the end of the day, a well-known person, Les Brown, really just said, you know, we should live a full life and die empty, not die full with all the dreams that we should have done and live an empty life, you know. So it's really about just go for things. Things will work, some things won't work, but however, you can say, I gave it a go, and you can just say, move on, rather than ruminating in your mind, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I? And then 10 years go by and you think, where did the time go?
Yeah, for real. No, someone said to me, listen, I mean, when I say years ago, this is years ago, I was in my teens at the time, you know, and someone said, you know, people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. I took it with a pinch of salt at the time. I said I was in my teens, and over the years, and I heard it saying again, and I was highly offended because I was like, what do you mean? Huh? But we speak about boundaries, yeah? If you ain't sticking to your own boundaries, what do you expect people to speak to your boundaries for? Do you understand what I'm saying? But on a serious day, I'm talking, you know, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you know, being more assertive. People will gaslight you, you know, try and get you to, you say no how many times, and they, you know, keep on chipping away until you're right. No, and it's alright to say no. The world ain't gonna end. Like, was it Julia or what was said? They went and asked somebody else. It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be detrimental to you. It's gonna mess with your self-care. Is it gonna mess with your mental health? And you know what? People treat you the way you allow them to treat you. It's true. Yeah? It's not you being selfish, it's being selfless. Take care of you. You can then take care of them.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I believe. You know, so Julia, powerful words you've spoken today, as have the rest of you queens. Yeah, and I was Lola. Can we ask, yeah, what have you unlearned over the years to become the person you are right now?
Things were taught to me. I was a baby at one stage, and someone that was older, someone that was more superior, someone that was in charge taught me certain things. So as a child, I guess I would believe and I would trust you to some degree. And some of those things were not true. Some of those things were not true. Some of those things were taught in ways that were harmful. There's a period of my life during the 60s, it was quite common for African families to come from Africa, come here, they bring their children, or they have children here, and because they want to create a better life for their family, so they decided to have me when they came here, but they couldn't because they had 2-3 jobs and studying. So next minute the children get left with European people, European as well, and it's not that they come and take you home at the end of the day. You live with them and your parents come and see you on the weekend, and some of those people don't actually look after you. And if that is in the period, especially of between 0 and 7, what do they say? Give me a child until he's 7 and I'll show you the man. What do you say? Once I came to a certain age and I saw some patterns in myself, I had to start joining dots here. You know, and ask myself, what's going on? So there's many things that I had to unlearn, many scientific facts, cultural facts, historical facts. Personally, myself, go back to basics, especially when it comes to me. I think everything first and foremost starts with me. Everything.
Yeah, you come first.
Because when you are brought up with people, and I can imagine, because one thing with trauma is that your brain shuts off at a certain point, you know. It has to shut off to protect you. So a lot of things that happen, I can't remember. I had, you know, these flashbacks, seeing things that you've got no business. Why have I got business seeing those types of things at my age? So I had to join the dots, and I can just imagine happened. So it's about me putting myself first, not in a selfish way, but me looking after myself. Anybody else want to just say a word or two before we finish? I just want to... Wilma?
Yeah, I've been listening tonight, and I've come to the conclusion for myself really that I have given so much that I've become empty. I don't even want to cry when I should, because it's all about doing for others. And when you do for others, always, because your main thinking is, oh, if I say no, they're not going to like me, because you want to be liked, yeah? And in the beginning, I was that person. If I didn't want to do something, I wouldn't do it. If I did it, was wholeheartedly, 100%. I'm doing it, and I forget about it, because you know you don't want to talk about things that you do for other people. But I've come to realise that I've kind of got so hard now that I can't even cry. You know, because you know, everybody expects you to be strong, and you really, there comes a point where you're so strong that you can't even be weak anymore, and you feel like empty. And then, like, people see you now, and if you speak up, they say you're being selfish, because they're so used to you always doing for others and not for yourself.
Yeah, I get that. And my little girl just wants to talk now.
Yeah.
You know, Maya Angelou said, when I decided that I was going to speak, I found that I had a lot to say. Wow.
Sorry, it's Maxine again. So Wilma, can I just ask, you know, you said that you feel empty now, but is that empty a good space that you can build on?
It is a good space, I don't want to lie, because I'm not caring like I was caring before.
Okay.
So I'm at peace, don't get me wrong, I'm at peace, but I still feel empty.
Okay. So you need more, I don't know what is the word, nourishment then. So empty isn't the building block for you yet?
No, because I'm still thinking about, as we spoke last week, I'm still feeling like when I want to be that light, I get told by other people, oh, you're too out there, you need to, you know, play it down. So I'm kind of, you know, a losing battle, because you get told you're doing too much, and you don't do anything, and you get told you're not doing anything. So the main thing to now do is to do you, and don't worry about what other people think or say.
100%.
Yeah, what other people think is not your business.
No, it's not.
Love it.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's not. But it's hard when you've been always.
No, I get you.
Yeah, it will take time, because it took years to get where you are.
That's right.
Exactly.
So it's not gonna, you know, you might for the first hour of the day, you might say, I don't care what people think, live and let live, but you still, deep down,
Yeah.
and again, it goes from the family, you know, the mother, the father. They kind of, I know from my mum anyway, she could have left many a times, my dad, but she thought of the kids, the 6, 7 kids that she had. She wanted to keep them together. But we don't have to do that anymore. That's what they had to do.
Yes, even my mom is like, don't trust no man. Don't leave yourself for any man. She would say, and she's married. You're married to dad. You're married to dad.
Can I just also interject just momentarily in the sense that it goes on to, in terms of what you just said, Wilma, and also Kim, in the sense that their perception doesn't have to be your reality.
No.
And one of the things that I encourage people is to say, like, when people say, oh, you need to mind your business, yes, your mind is your business. You need to mind your business. So words have power, so selectivity of choice of words is important. So I would definitely encourage, and I hear what you're saying, in the sense that, well, it's taken us to get where we are. This is where we are at. So it will take time to unchange things, and whilst we're unchanging, things will go in the right direction, but they can quickly go back into the pattern of as was is. And when it does retrograde, it's important therefore still to say, like, well, you still can see the vision of who you want to be, because we all have dreams, and it's not about allowing people to snatch your dreams, drain your dreams, crush your dreams. It's your path, it's your life, it's your way. And just by if you're okay for me just to share that with you, to just say that, well, whatever is your dream, own it, and don't allow anybody to take that from you, because sometimes people are envious and jealous when they see you looking to be different and wanting to do better, because you are then shining a light. As you said a minute ago, they want to put you onto a bushel. They want you to dampen. Why would you want to dampen somebody's light if you have good intentions that you want them to shine even brighter, like a diamond? So just be more observant, and also just be maybe actively listening to not only what people say, but also what people are doing, because there's a lot of incongruency where people say one thing but they mean something completely different.
No. What you mean is mind the crosses then. Mind the crosses then. Sorry, Julia, go on.
No. That is the bottom line. But the key thing here is about self-love. That is the common denominator through this whole conversation. Love thyself. And therefore, if you can work on that, because to be honest with you, some of the work that I do, people are afraid to look at themselves in the mirror. People don't want to actually look at themselves and see who they really are. They prefer to put on a mask and pretend that they're somebody else. But you can't be somebody else. You can only be you. You are the original self. So it's important, therefore, to start looking to gently honor yourself. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because certain people may look at themselves and be hypercritical of the person that they're looking in the mirror at. And the question is, well, you can't run away from you. Just like when you have a little kitten and it sees itself in the first time in a mirror, you're trying to outrun itself to say, like, who's that in that mirror? You need to then just look at yourself in the mirror and just say, okay, this is who I am. Yeah, I might have some scars, I might have this, I might have that. But I'm here. And if I'm here, that means I must be here for a reason. So my journey is to find out, why am I here? What can I do? What impact can I make? And sometimes just, you've got a beautiful smile. Sometimes that smile can make a world of difference. Because when people are going through life and they're just in their head and they see a smiley face, sometimes that really can make a difference. You might never know you've changed somebody's day.
Well, I do know, and it upsets the people that I'm with, out. Because as I said, I know what to do, I know what to say to people, but I sometimes could probably say the same things to myself. But
the question is, why don't you? That's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
You do you gently.
Yeah.
And the word nourishing and nurturing is very key here. Yeah. Not to be harsh and not to race. The only race you have is a race against self. And look to just focus on you gently. You wasn't born and you ran. You had to go through stages and phases to get where you are today. Yeah. All right, so just be easy. Okay, that's my take.
I was just going to say, just to round off now, I've got 2 quotes here, and I wanted us to have a vote on which quote resonates the most. So if we could have a show of hands, that would be amazing. Okay, the first one is, we are so trained in the thought system of fear and attack that we get to the point where natural thinking and love feels unnatural, and unnatural thinking and fear feels natural. It takes real discipline and training to unlearn the thought system of fear. So that's one, it's a bit long. And the other one is the ability to unlearn is one of the most important qualities a leader can have. So the first one is by Gilbert K. Chesterton, and the second one is anonymous. So, do you want me to read it again, or do you want
I like the short and sweet one. Yeah.
So do I.
That's what I like, because you know what? It is so important. It is so important.
The ability to unlearn is one of the most important qualities a leader can have. To unlearn.
Yeah. I think it is important.
Yeah.
I'd agree. I agree. It is short and simple, and it's important because being a leader, you have to be different. You have to stand out. You have to own your ground and your presence. But at the same time, there's many different levels of leadership, which also means you should be observant of how it's impacting others. I would agree that the second one says a lot, because it actually requires a lot of courage to do that. Because you're standing out, your head's above the parapet, and usually when your head's above the parapet, you're an easy target. Yeah. So it takes great courage.
And you're normally going against the grain.
100%.
You understand? You're standing alone. Sometimes you're alone in that fight. The fight must go.
Yeah, and that takes courage.
So we're going for 2 then. Number 2.
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I don't know. 2 is good, but it depends on the type of person that you are, whether you need a lot of words to mull over, because sometimes even the most simplest thing, or what should they say, common isn't always common, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So it's effective for me, because if you give me too much information, which the first one did, you kind of get lost with me. But some people might need all the detail, and they might remember it well. Me, I'll forget half of the things. So the short and sweet works for me. But with working with other people, and especially elderly people as well, I know some people might need more detail, and that might resonate more.
It's all about the Health and Healing Hub experience each and every Saturday on your favorite station between the hours of 2 and 4. ContrastRadio.net.
Now, to the listeners, just another reminder, the information heard here is not intended to serve as medical advice and should not be used for the diagnosis or treatment of a health problem or disease. As I always say, investigate, do your own research when it comes to your health issues.